Well, good morning. Bit of a weird day today. I have to announce um, I had to block Damo from Gero. I didn't have to, but because I wasn't sure. I let it. I was like, what should I do? Maybe there's something there. Like, what is this? And then I guess I was just like, I don't think he's coming around. I think I don't know, he's got something else going on. I don't even know him. And it's like, basically, these people, like, you can't find these people. And so what is that? Like, what the fuck is that? Really? Because there's no doubt in my mind. It's like there are people in other countries and stuff that are just, you know, they're trying to bow down and worship Allah or something like that, so that we all die. So like that's going on, and I guess social media just gives them a little bit of conduit, and then you find out that some of them live in Geraldton. But it is weird. It's a fucking weird, a weird thing. I suppose it's always been going on to some extent. The main thing is why, like, the main thing I did have it's like, why, and obviously I'm in a weird circumstance, but why would it be only those people? Do you know what I mean? And that's the real doozy to do with YouTube and Google. That's what I'm trying to prove. Yeah, like that's a flawed. It's a flawed concept. I mean, there was to put it like to give an example. There were cafes in Budapest, which had a beautiful moment in history where they'd have like basically free coffee and you could sit and people would talk to each other and do these things. It's like those people weren't necessarily like sold to the mass or anything like, but they could speak to each other. And it seems like there is some filtering. There's too much filtering going on it's like micromanaging matchmaking of the world society. And like down to like the weirdest levels. And it's like, yeah, you got to stop that. Ideas need to smash into each other and cook. And it's like, how do we have this multicultural? It's like, that we're a melting pot society when there is no pot melting. There is like, it doesn't, like, provably for a long fucking time, So they're like, it's so weird. It's like, think about you were playing pool with someone and then they like, they had a shot that they had to get and they literally like, and it was a really intense game and they like lift the table up to cheat and put the ball in. That's quite difficult to do, but or they do. It's like, that's what's going. I'm like, what are you doing? And they think they're being. I think like what basically we've had 30 years of computer nerd lore, like computer nerd mythology and lore and folklore and fucking urban legend and urban myth, and like this is like that the whole thing, the hacker fucking archetype is all of this is all incorporated. But now they're doing the same shit in this way, and it's like, Oh no. You know what I mean? And it's like, imagine, it's just like, it could be a movie. Imagine like a super nerdy person like does all this shit, like fakes this thing, and then is it like ends up like, is causing like fucking all this back end fucking bullshit and causing all this drama and stuff with like supercomputers and like from a weird little place, and they're trying to like get their revenge on, and it's like, and then they get caught. Like, this is what's happening. See, like that, I'd had today the Ex Machina movie thing in my diary, and that's kind of like, that's too cool. It's like the uber fucking, tech billionaire, hideaway retreat creates a woman like robot, does this thing, and then he's like, masterminding this fucking whatever, and then he ends up. It's like, it's not that. It's like thousands and thousands of like really creepy, like sociopathic, introverted fucking trolls that have troll controls. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're getting exposed for like trying to fucking remote control the world. And it's just really bad. Like, it's fucking really gonna be bad, especially since we already live in a fucking simulation. That's the fucking doozy. That's the doozy of it all. Can't actually confirm that we live in a simulation, but we live in something weird that it's probably best for you, if you've been one of those people, to consider that we live in a computer simulation. And that, of course, the first thing that simulation does is defends itself against people that try and create another fucking computer simulation. That makes sense, doesn't it? You know what I mean? That would be, remember how people are like, oh, well, the chances of us not being in a computer simulation are fucking like 1 in a billion. It's actually more than that. But the chances of us not being in a fucking computer simulation, and that computer simulation having built-in defense mechanisms to stop a newly emergent computer fucking simulation from being established, would be, 1 billion times fucking larger. So there's definitely, if we are in a simulation, that thing has antivirus software. So I guess this is where we are. That's about it. That's all I really had to say. The one other thing I have to say is that I think it is hilarious that this showdown between the left and the right is basically going to end up with a bunch of people dressing up like Motley Crue and Bon Jovi, battling it out with people dressed up like men, dressed up as women, arguing about their right to be able to do things, because that's what it is. But I just want to go. I just imagine going to a council meeting of a bunch of protesters, woke protesters and liberal protesters, just dressed as Bon Jovi, and just subsequently keep dressing slightly less trans, slightly more Bon Jovi until they start realizing, they're like, hang on a second, are you trans or are you dressing as Bon Jovi? And then that's the end, like that, and then there'll be a battle, and then that's we've been here before. The left stole what the right did. And yeah, I don't know, but it's all of it's cool, I think it's just all cool. It's better. And the same, it's basically what the trans people did when they want all these pronouns and stuff is that's the equivalent of a Bon Jovi tribute band claiming to be like wanting the same treatment as Bon Jovi. Which they do. They do. And so give it to them. So give them that. It's like, alrighty, we will do our best to conform to pronouns. So conform to pronouns as soon as there is tribute band what would you call it, like parody? No, tribute band equality. EQUAULITY, tribute band equality. Pretty simple there. And look, I will now sign it. So just so you know, this is a entire interconnected unicorn pen made in rainbows. And I will now sign this into law. Oh, they're pencils. That's weird. I thought they were pens, but they're pencils. So they're all the same. I was expecting them to all be different colors, but they're all just a fucking pencil. What the fuck kind of message is that sending? This is a veneer. This is a fucking just a simple foolish trick to fool the masses into thinking that it's diversity, and they're all just a lead pencil. God, Groot, what do you reckon? Groot is, I am Groot, he said, apparently, and he's not happy at all. Nevertheless, it's signed in pencil. So, hey, that's on you. That's not on me. I thought it was pen. If it was pen, it'd be right, but I guess that's, yeah. So we're going to conform to pronoun theory when we see tribute brand equality. And this means everybody. So this means like we need press gangs at all the gigs. We need media coverage. They need to be able to play at the fucking big stadiums. They need to get as much pussy as well, or dick, pussy or dick, whichever one they're after, and they need to be paid the same as well, and they need to be called the same things because they're doing the same exact fucking thing. And so that's pretty easy. So obviously I'll give you a bit of time to all consider this, because yeah, I'm just sick of it. I can't fucking keep up with my shaving and my movement and dance practice and all the things. And it's like, you might think I'm making fun of you. I'm not. In fact, after I finish this video, I'm going straight to probably shave and put makeup on and try and look like a girl again, because my children came. I had to look. It's a long fucking story, but my children hate when I fucking do my tribute band as well. So I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to fucking force them to watch that as well. So that's why I'm moving to Canada. There's no other option. Pretty much that's the whole reason Canada exists, is for divorced fathers with, adult, nearing on adult children to go and live as transsexuals and start a tribute band. Like, that's all there is to do. There is no other solution. So I guess I'm going to get on the phone to Ryan Reynolds. I'm going to apologise for all that stuff I said about killing Van Wilder. I mean, I guess we are killing Van Wilder, but maybe not Ryan Reynolds. Look at these. Look at these. This shirt is not doing anything for, or I don't even. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So I guess we're going to kill Van Wilder. So I'll go R.I.P. R.I.P. Van Wilder. I think that's how you spell it, but it's probably not. Oh, that's R.I.P. Little gravestone. But I guess that doesn't mean we're going to kill Ryan Reynolds for now. But we will have a vote because Canada has a very strong democracy, I've heard. Now that they've got rid of their dictator, Fidel Castro's illegitimate son, apparently, but that's just a rumor. But yeah, so we will have a vote as Canadians about whether Ryan Reynolds is going to be alive or whether he is going to be dead. And I will respect the democracy of the land that I'm heading to. So when I'm practicing drawing my maple leaves, I need a lot more practice than that. I look forward to some ice skating, to watch some ice hockey, to have, what else do they have? They have I think they have a thing called Tim Hortons. That's about it, to be honest. They have a thing called Tim Hortons. And I'll just say it now, I am going to apply for the Mounties. So hopefully they can teach me how to ride a horse. Yeah. Canada. Canadian. So I've well and truly colonised. I've left my children. I'm leaving my children in Australia. And there's 3 of them. So I think I've done my job. Look after them, please. You fucking absolute bastards. And I will then I'm going to go to Canada and then be Canadian. So I've got to learn how to say A apparently at the end of everything I say, which is like A. We say the A. E. A. E. That's it. Really the only difference I can see. Still a bit concerned because I don't know whether you remember I told a story about once when I was in Albany and I was talking to a Canadian. We were getting along quite well, and then out of the blue, he just slapped me in the face for no reason and then walked away. There wasn't an offense. I don't know. I still to this date do not know whether that is just a Canadian custom. I hope not, because if it is, I'm walking straight down south. I'm like, fuck this. I went to the wrong place. I can't deal with that. Because in Australia, it's like that. That will lead to being, you will punch someone. And I don't want to end up in a Canadian jail. Just quietly, because they will, I don't know. Actually, it probably wouldn't be that bad to end up in a Canadian jail, to be honest. but I don't want to jinx it. I'm not going to end up in a Canadian jail. I'm going to be putting people in Canadian jail because I'm going to be a Mountie if I can pass the exam and learn how to ride a horse, and if I can learn how to draw a maple leaf. And I've got to say A at the end of everything. Rest I pretty much got sorted. There aren't enough Australians in Canada, and there especially aren't enough Tasmanians in Canada. And I think that's a little bit responsible for what's been going on there. It's like a big migration. A lot of these, we've all come from the same places. And my family started here down in the cold place here, and now I've lived in the hot place here, and now I'd like to go live in the cold place again, but up the top. Because I reckon it was more than likely when my family came here, it was like a coin toss. And that's really weird to think about. It's like, think about everything you do is like more than likely could have resulted from a coin toss, and that's I think what Titanic was about, except that was a poker game. Yeah, that was a poker game, not a coin toss, but same thing. You know what I mean? Same thing. All of those characters could have been Canadian. And so the first thing I'm going to do as soon as I get to Canada and speak to Mark Carney is I'm going to arrange for James Cameron to make a Canadian version. Canadian version. Obviously sponsored by China. Canadian Titanic. Canadian Titanic by James Cameron will start filming early in June, and we just need all of the CIA files on Dr. Ewan Cameron. Dr. Ewan. I think it's actually Joseph Ewan Cameron. Cameron to make Canadian Titanic. Because it's weird, like, the one thing I remember my auntie telling me is that I'm pretty sure my grandmother, there's some connection in my grandmother's family who was, her maiden name is Cameron, was on the Titanic. And I guess I just never really, like, there's so many things that I hadn't even got to that. So I guess when we make Canadian Titanic, maybe the story can be about that. Instead of an Irish American immigrant and an English American, soon to be American floozy played by, do you know what I mean? I think it was the wrong message. There's really an infinite amount of Titanics that James Cameron and I can tell. We can, I mean, with the wonder of AI, we can tell a different version of Titanic every week. You know what I mean? That's something that Skynet just never would have fucking dreamt of doing if it had of. If it had done that instead of like the robots, I think it's like people, humans, we do not like robots. Really, we will never not be suspicious of them. And I think Skynet knows that. And so instead of robots, it's going to make 101 versions of Titanic. There we go. Yeah. And then we don't need to make Terminator. So Terminator doesn't exist. It's just 101 versions of Titanic, starting with Canadian Titanic, I guess. Alrighty. Oh, Canada, my home and something land. Something Canada. I don't know the second verse of our national anthem either. I mean, I can't go stop calling it our. It's your. I don't know the second verse of your national anthem. Neither do all of you. You should learn it before you say anything about Australia Day. That should be the test. Either side. It's like basically police set up an entire blockade, right? You walk into a booth, you say the second verse of the Australian national anthem. If you don't know it, you're sent home. No, you're not allowed to protest today. That's a very Canadian way of dealing with this. And if I was a Canadian Prime Minister instead of Justin Trudeau, that's what I would have done about the mandates. We would have sorted it all out instead of having some weird fucking frontier fucking, backwards fucking stockade with trucks and bullshit. I wouldn't have called them far-right extremists. I would have just called them fucking, people that probably don't know the national anthem properly, and that's what it is. So already, see, the cool air of Canada, which I'm already there. I obviously couldn't tell you all that I'd already moved. I had to ship this entire fucking set, to recreate it in Canada. That's why I had to say quick goodbye to my children. And then that's it. I'm going to sneak out. I went on that MC55 Peregrine that they bought for me to say thank you. Thank you. It's a wicked plane. It's fucking sick. I love the color. It's all silver and shit. I can't wait to land that in Vancouver or Ottawa and start talking about fucking Titanic. And I can't wait to then phone my son, who's heading off to Adelaide, and go, mate, we're making 101 versions of Titanic with James Cameron, and he will just be like, because he was obsessed with Titanic, probably because of the same thing. It's the same family connection. So as soon as I get off here, I'm going to go look what the Cameron connection is with Titanic. You think I would have done that? I've mentioned Titanic 500 fucking times. I've gone into the deepest psychological depths of explaining it. I'd recently just watched it again. I watched 98% of it, which is going to frustrate me. But maybe it's better that way. Maybe it's better ambiguous where they don't end up on the door and she doesn't throw the thing back, because that's a bullshit story, James Cameron. It doesn't contribute to the world. Really, when I think about it, and I'm like, why would you tell that story? We're sending this message out that the entire purpose of the female world is to lie to everyone and fuck whoever you can and get out on top. That's what that is. James Cameron's Titanic is like, it's equivalent to, like, what would it be? It has to be an ultimate male fucking debaucherous I don't know, like you know what I mean? It's like a fucking, yeah, because you could play that, like Rose from James Cameron's Titanic could literally be like the Joker, I think, from The Dark Knight, and then the Joker wins. In some weird, like, I don't know, battle with God, where it's like, it was never about the money. I think that's what, like, James Cameron's, the synopsis right now, this has just come to me, the summary of the psychological manipulation that James Cameron's original Titanic. Maybe Dr. Ewan Cameron wrote down the fucking instructions. He's like, this is exactly what I want you to make. But it is like, It is one woman's life journey to prove that she isn't a whore, that she wasn't doing it for the money. But everything she did, like, was only possible because she was benefiting from money. So it's even worse. It's like she's benefiting from money and from being surrounded by money and being like, this object of male fascination. And then to prove to the world, she does all these elaborate, that's what she's constantly doing. That's why she goes back to Jack, because she's like, fuck, I'm not a whore. I'm not a whore. I'm not doing this for the money. But it's supposed to be actually like forever eternal love. Because Jack's dead. But really, Jack might not have been dead if he had never met her, and he might have shacked up with someone else. And it's just, yeah, that's what I think. I think it's Rose's story of how she wasn't a whore, and that's why she throws it in the ocean. So she bullshits a fucking, multi-million-dollar fucking expedition to find a thing. Like all the archaeological evidence, all the the value, the historic, all these things, even like her own family value, like she could have tried to sell it to give money to her kids and shit. It is the epitome of the suffragette movement told through the lens and the characterization of a suffragette. And she will inevitably, once we tell these other 101 Titanic stories, she will be exposed. Because how many years is that? How many years did Rose and Jack capture the entire fucking Titanic? There hasn't been another telling of Titanic. How many Draculas have there been? How many fucking vampire movies? Oh, that's a Dracula. How many all of it. Like, I think there's been 2 Frankenstein movies, and Frankenstein's a bit obscure. All these things. I'm losing, track of the remakes, but there's been so many remakes. And that's different because that's like Titanic is a theme, not a whole narrative and story. And actually, Titanic is just a setting. That's it. Setting with a kind of inevitable culmination, but that's it. The rest is open for a million different variations. And that got hijacked. The entire fucking legacy of the Titanic got hijacked by a relative of one of the most nefarious fucking psychiatrist, fucking manipulative warfare fucking bullshit artists. Told a story about and glorified a suffragette. A suffragette's battle against the world, against the paternal patriarchy, by throwing a priceless fucking artifact in the ocean. But you find me one bitch. You find me one bitch that will do that, and I'll take it all back. But just that didn't happen. Because what it is, a lot of love stories about tragic love, like Romeo and Juliet. The man dies. It's supposed to stop there because the woman keeps going. Sometimes the women have 10 dead tragic loves before they reach 50. You can all keep telling those stories if you want. We can go through the archives of the world and find those stories, but they won't exist very much, almost at all. And so this was James Cameron attempting to tell a glorified, a glorified extremist feminist narrative, and he hijacked one of the most significant events in our current world, because the Titanic was a really significant event. It was the joining of the old world and the new world in this way, and that's all of that set, and it got turned into just a complete piece of bullshit that is so nostalgic and it was like a brainworm. That's what the trans people would call it. They call it a brainworm. It was a brainworm for radical feminist theory. And it doesn't, and so now we have all the carnage. We now have our very own actual Titanic all around us. There aren't enough lifeboats. There's chaos. Everybody's drowning. And it's like, and all the women have got their little heart of the ocean tucked away. It's fucking Jesus Christ. No men fought because they're all like, I'm going to drown. It's just a fucking bullshit thing. So, I mean, yeah, clever bloke, Dr. Ewan Cameron and James Cameron, but fucking hell, we've got a lot of fixing to do. So, yeah. Actually, I might not even need James Cameron to do this. I might, because I'm Shannon Cameron in a fucking, this is the funniest thing, in a radical feminist reality. Oh my God, in an alternative radical feminist reality. Hang on a second. Well, women would pass on their name. And so that would be, my grandmother was Cameron, Evelyn Cameron. And then my mother would have taken that on, Cameron. And then I would be Shannon Cameron. And considering she did fucking, basically murder and fucking rob my father, I am Shannon Cameron. Oh my goodness gracious me. And I'm going to hold these two at the same. So it's like, it's a wise Cameron production. The pen's run out again. Sorry, that was fucking, yeah. If anyone wants to, make an accusation of domestic violence because I just threw a fucking texter, I'll open the door. I'll leave the door unlocked. There's the cat. Mixing themes. That's a fucking Matrix theme. Merlin, that's a Matrix theme. We're getting our movies mixed up again. Merlin. Oops, never mind. It's a wise Cameron production, and we're going to tell 101 versions of Titanic. And Glenn Close, of her recent, I can't wait to watch her Netflix series. I think it's on Netflix. Fuck, I hope it's on Netflix. Otherwise, I fucked everything up. Because she was obviously Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians, so she will be some type of fucking character on 101 Titanics. Yeah. He's still there. Can't wait. Well, anyway, I'll see you all down at Tim Hortons. E.